Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Costanzo, and I'm happy to join you for the Strathaven Middle School Career Exploration Catalog. I work in the field of higher education. I work for the University of Pennsylvania down in the city of Philadelphia. I have a picture of our campus behind me. I'll move over a little. That's our Fisher Fine Arts Library on our main campus area, right around the 34th and Spruce Street area on campus. As you can see, there's some benches and some pictures of students when they actually took this, this photo. But I'm actually coming to you live from my house because currently I'm working remotely, like many of you are learning remotely. So what I wanted to do today is share with you a little bit about what I do in case you're interested in a career in higher education. I'm not a faculty member at Penn, I'm a staff member, but I do work with students predominantly. And so I'll walk you through a little bit about what I do. And then at the very end, I'll share with you some contact information if you'd like to learn more. So I'm going to share my screen and pick my presentation. Here is my presentation so that you can see it. And I'm going to walk you through the presentation that I have for you today. So there's my contact information. I'm Christina Costanzo. I'm an assistant dean down at the School of Nursing at Penn. I've worked there for 20 years, so I've been there a long time. I'm not a nurse, so you can't ask me any nursing questions. But I do know a lot about education and working with students. So a little bit about me. I grew up in southern New Jersey in the shore town of Margate, about 2 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean. It was great to live there all year round when I was young. We got to enjoy the beach well into the fall and also got to enjoy the beach in the spring before summer came. I'm a first generation American. My dad is an immigrant from Italy. And I'm also a first generation college student. So I was the first person in my immediate family to go to college. And I'm only the 3rd female in my mom or dad's family to earn a college degree. So for those of you who don't have parents who've been to college, I can answer lots of questions about that too. I was the first female in my family to earn a master's degree, and I'm the only person in my family to have a doctoral degree. I got my bachelor's degree from Rutgers University on the New Brunswick campus. I majored in management. I minored in psychology. I absolutely loved it. It was probably the best 4 years of my life. Rutgers is a very large state university, a lot like Penn State here in Pennsylvania. But it was a really great place for me to meet lots of people and learn more about myself and figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. I went to get my master's degree in education at Penn, at the University of Pennsylvania, the Graduate School of Education. My concentration there was in higher education. I also earned my doctoral degree there, my Doctor of Education degree, graduating. Actually, that's my most recent degree. I finished that degree in 2015. I did the doctoral degree part-time while I worked for the university so that I could use tuition benefits to help pay for it. And while I was earning my doctoral degree, I had 3 children. So there's a picture of my kids. I have 2 girls and a boy. I have a 9th grade girl at Strathaven High School, and I have a 3rd grade girl at MPE and a 1st grade little boy at MPE. So if you have siblings that know my children, there they are. What does my office do? So at Penn, I'm the assistant dean of the Office of Academic Affairs. We call it the OAA for the School of Nursing. So we are in charge of lots of daily operations for the school. So my office is in charge of admissions. So we review the applications for our graduate students. So that's our Master's of Science in Nursing, our Doctor of Nursing Practice, and our PhD in nursing students. We also liaison with the Central Penn Admissions Office for the admitting of our BSN freshmen and our transfer applicants. So Penn, the larger university, admits our freshmen every year. That does not fall on the School of Nursing. We just liaison with them. We also do the financial aid packages for all of our graduate students, determining how much grant money and allocating, making them eligible for loans. We also academic advise students. We help our students select classes and talk to them about how to be successful at Penn. So that would be similar to a lot of what your guidance counselors do in terms of picking classes and ensuring you're on the right track. We do what's called student affairs work. So we run new student orientation. We organize the graduation for the School of Nursing. We run what's called Family Weekend, where parents come to campus and see their students and learn more about our schools. We plan social activities and educational activities like career services and things like that. We do wellness activities, and we also advise our student organizations. We have about 10 student organizations in the School of Nursing. In our school, because we're a clinical school, because nursing students have to take clinical courses, we also handle all the contracts and immunizations and background checks for our students. So our nursing students have to do annual criminal background checks with the Pennsylvania State Police. They also have to do annual drug testing. So we work with those groups that test those students. We roster the courses that are going to be offered each year and each semester, and we also update the handbooks. I put a link to our website, so if you want to see more about what we do, there's just a little bit about what we do. So here is some pictures of us. So this was my team's thank you to nurses this year. So back in the spring, when we all had to go remote, many of my students, my graduate students, were working and busy taking care of all those COVID patients that were coming into the hospitals. And so we all created signs and took a picture to say thank you to our students and our colleagues for taking care of all these patients and coming together to take care of them, and then us staying at home to protect them. So this was just a little collage. So this is my team. This is the staff that works with me on a day-to-day basis to work with our students. So our admissions staff, our registration staff, our advising staff, this is them. I also put together a little collage of some pictures of events that we've done. So you can see here on the screen, we have had a number of different events with our students. So we went to a most valuable professor game. I had the captain of the women's basketball team at Penn in the nursing school. So the picture on the top left of the screen is us attending the basketball game. Tips and Treats is a event that we do in our building. We've been doing them remotely, where we provide food and then we offer some tips about some study strategies or some wellness strategies. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner, that's our librarian for the health schools, talking with our students about how to do some searches and find information that's important. On the bottom right, you'll see a table with a whole bunch of desserts. That's our save the date for our annual dessert reception. That's where the faculty and staff of the school baked for our students. When we're in person, we normally bake for the students twice a year. And at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see one of the activities that our Nursing Student Wellness Advisory Board did. So we have a group of students who suggests programming related to wellness. So they all put on glasses because the theme this year is perspective. And so they took pictures wearing their blue light glasses. And we use that in our newsletter that we share with students. We send out a newsletter every other week to students about wellness activities. So who do I work with in the university? I work with faculty who teach our courses. I work with my colleagues at the other schools at Penn. So the School of Arts and Sciences and the Wharton School, School of Engineering and Applied Science, the School of Medicine, the Vet School. We work with the college house system. That's where students live in our dorms and residence halls. We work with public safety and our university crisis team, especially now during the pandemic. We work with our counseling office and our student health services office. We work with our learning resources center and our tutoring center and our student disabilities office. We work with the cultural and religious resource centers on campus. We work with Penn Athletics. I have 16 NCAA athletes that are in the School of Nursing, and we work very hard to ensure that they can continue to compete as well as study to be nurses. And we also work with our University Student Life Office that recognizes our student organizations and helps to plan lots of on-campus, or in this time during COVID, virtual events. So what can you do with a career in higher education? And how did I find out about it? So when I was a student at Rutgers, I got a work-study job working for one of the assistant deans there at Rutgers. And she said to me, she was the assistant dean for first-year students. So we planned activities for freshmen. And she said to me, why don't you go and do what I do when you graduate from college? And I said, well, how do you become what you do? And so she told me all about how to apply to graduate schools to get my master's degree so that I could work in higher ed. So when you think of universities, you often think of the faculty who teach there, but there is a whole bunch of staff that also work at colleges and universities. And so that's the type of work that I do. So these, what I have listed here for careers in higher education are all of the different jobs that you could do as staff in a university. So you could work in our admissions office and help admit students to the universities or colleges. You could work in the financial aid in the student billing office and help to package students for financial aid and help run the bills. You could work in advising offices, helping students decide what classes to take and making sure they're on track for graduation. You could work in registration and course scheduling offices. They're all the people who put up the courses that the universities are going to offer each semester, and also then produce your transcripts when you graduate. You could work in student affairs. The student affairs team are the folks who work in new student orientation. In residence life, they're the staff that live in the dorms with you. The cultural and religious centers, the health and wellness offices, the learning resources and tutoring offices, etc. You could work in the library. So we have librarians, obviously, who work in the library, helping students with their research and their projects. You could work in university computing. Those jobs became extremely important during the pandemic when we had to switch to teaching virtually. We rely heavily right now on our IT folks to help us deliver all of this material to students and also help interact with them in a virtual space. You could work in the human resources office. They're the folks that hire all the people at colleges and universities and plan and organize the benefits that they select and ensure that their compensation is accurate and things like that. You could work in research. We have a lot of staff who work with faculty in research labs, helping to actually, produce the technology that was used to deliver the COVID vaccine that you see out on the market today. So the mRNA COVID vaccine, that research was done at the University of Pennsylvania on how to use mRNA to deliver vaccinations. So while Penn didn't develop the COVID vaccine, we developed the research behind it that was used to develop those vaccines. Pretty awesome that you can work in a lab and do that with faculty who are working on that research. You could work in finance. Somebody has to manage the budget of the university. You could work in billing and the accounting offices. You could also work in the facilities office. So we obviously have folks that maintain our buildings. There are electricians and our plumbers. There are the architects who design our new buildings or help to renovate them. So we have extensive facilities staff that make sure that everything at Penn is running smoothly. That occurs at all universities and colleges across the US. So working in higher ed is sort of, it's kind of like, we're like a mini city down there at the University of Pennsylvania on campus in Philadelphia. We have all of these folks that I mentioned, plus more, working on our campus, ensuring that we're all working to the best of our ability, that we're helping our students, that we're safe, and that we're operating in a good way. Especially now during the pandemic, we're using lots of our resources to keep us all safe and going. So there's lots of things that you can do in higher ed. So if you want to learn more about working in higher education, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you. Like I said, I didn't find this career until I was already in college. I was a junior in college when I learned that there is this whole profession of working in higher education. We have our own professional organizations. We have master's degrees and doctoral degrees for people who want to do this. So if you're interested in working at a university, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. The best way to reach me is by email. So costanzo@upenn.edu is how to reach me. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. When we return to campus in the future, I'm hoping we're all back on campus by the fall. If you ever want to come down and see what it looks like, I'd be happy to show you what we do on campus and what it looks, and what our campus looks like, or connect you with the admissions folks if you're interested in learning more about Penn. So if, again, reach out. Wish I could see you all in person, but happy to show you a video of what it's like to do what I do, and reach out with questions. Nice to meet you all. Take care. Bye-bye.